Roman numeral 10, the new toughness of mind, realism, positivism, and Marxism. The failures of revolutions make everyone cold and jaded, so these movements kind of make sense. Materialism says that everything that's mental or spiritual are actually influenced by the physical or the psychological. The arts call this movement realism, the idea again being that we want to be realistic and so forth. It's not what's in the mind, because what's in the mind is affected by what's outside and so forth. Madame Bovary is a very good example of this art movement and so forth. You also get the idea of skepticism, the idea being that we should be skeptical of religion, of reality, of positivism and so forth. So it's a very cynical art movement and logic and so forth. One of the big players here is Auguste Comte. Auguste Comte says that there are three stages of history. There's the theological, the metaphysical, and the scientific. Comte creates the field of sociology. It's the observation of positive fact. It's insistence on verifiable facts and a general dislike of generalizations. We need to find proof. We need to find realistic physical proof of things, not just what we think life is like or what we think life should be like. This in turn connects to realpolitik. Realpolitik refers roughly to the politics of reality. It's practical and strategic, not historic or personal. So in other words, you do what is necessary to win, not what you feel is right or what your loyalties are like. Early Marxism. Marx and Engels were originally disappointed revolutionaries. The Communist League is a secret group of radicals, much more like the Jacobins, so it's like a social club. They were crushed in the initial counter-revolutions of 1848. Sources and content of Marxism, the young Hegelians, are German philosophy students, basically. They embrace personal emancipation, separation from society, and so forth. Engels and the British industrialism. Engels saw the revolution firsthand. He came to the same conclusion Marx based on observation. Engels basically says, the rich are never going to give you money and power voluntarily. You have to take it for yourself, which gets you to the Communist Manifesto. The Communist Manifesto is a call to class warfare. Workers should be loyal to nothing but their own class. British political economy. Capital is in his book. It's on economic theory. It takes the iron law of wages to its logical corollary, which is basically that just as there is a limit, or that essentially the market will dictate what people should be paid, the market will also dictate who should be in power and so forth. Under dialectical materialism, conflict shapes change and production. Change and production. So the more we fight, the more we find the truth, if you will. The rest of this stuff is basically stuff you've heard of many, many times before. Class war between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, worker solidarity, all of that, again, should not be a new concept. But what you need to understand here is that Engels in the Communist Manifesto, and Marx in the Communist Manifesto as well, these guys working together create, for the first time, all of this is written down, really. Under the appeal of Marxism, its strength and weakness. It's appealing in its message, but it's too dramatic and apocalyptic for the average person. And that basically is what gets you, that's what you really need to understand here. Under conflicting working class values and opportunism, what you basically need to understand is, again, that while this is a nice idea in theory, it's a little too out there at the moment for anyone to really grab it. It's not going to come back into play until the Russian revolutions and so forth.